So today we're headed to day one of the 2025 UCP AGM. We're bringing our sign with us. We're going to hopefully have some good conversations. We've seen some pretty major wins in the last few weeks for the UCP. Bill 9, Bill 13, related to gender ideology, employment protections. Just yesterday, we saw what was, seems on the surface to be a pretty big win from the federal government, granting Alberta some expanded pipeline access. In an interview yesterday, in Danielle Smith's own words, she is sort of hoping that it feels like that this might quell some separatist sentiments in Alberta. So we're going to find out. We're going to see. We're going to have some conversations with the members, see has this changed their opinion on whether or not they want to see Alberta become its own nation. Are they happy with the wins? Are they going to see how this goes? We'll find out.
Let's get this party started. I'm going to invite my cabinet up here and they're going to talk to you one-on-one. We've got Rebecca Schultz and Dan Williams, Nadine Wellwood.
What a great day. What I'm most proud of is to be an Alberta Conservative leading the world on good conservative principles. Now, I don't know if you folks have heard about a pipeline recently, but that's one of the things that our caucus has brought to you, the opportunity to build a pipeline. But it's not for the pipeline. It's not just to send oil to market. It's to bring a better quality of life, to bring you happiness and health and all the things we need to pay for to have the best quality of life on the entire planet.
There's a whole bunch of if, maybe, potential. Nothing has been signed, nothing has been agreed to. And I have no issue with the fact that maybe it's a step in the right direction, but the problem is the UCP is promoting this as if this is a done deal. Like we've moved forward and she's checked off these 7 of the 9 demands that we've made. And that's false. We have not accomplished anything. Nothing has changed from last week to this week, even having signed the Memorandum of Understanding.
All right, I see some very long lineups. I don't want to say too much. What we'll do is we'll go back and forth between the mics.
What is going on in order to bring more charter schools online? One of the things that we've done in law enforcement, as an example, is a paradigm shift in the way we police.
Signed an agreement with Saskatchewan and Manitoba to actually advocate for nation-building projects. So
are getting the help that they need, I would say, is transformational.
That so-called MOU was signed yesterday. The ink wasn't dry on the paper, and Mark Carney went out and gleefully announced a 600% increase to the industrial carbon tax in Alberta. My question for the room is, how many of all of us favor a free and independent Alberta?
An independent Alberta within a united Canada. That is my
position. But the MOU, I think it was kind of planned to come out to provide her support, which is to take some of the wind out of the independent sail. People see through it. It's an MOU. It's like a promise ring to the girl. This is way before the marriage. We're not even at an engagement ring. 15 years, maybe we'll see something. People are wanting change now.
I was very curious to see how the membership would react. I think, in my own personal opinion, it's a positive step forward, but it's still too early to tell, I think, exactly how it's going to play out per se. But you know what? I think that's what political parties are for, right? You have tough internal conversations, but that's how politics and democracy is supposed to work, right?
Jeff Rath's standing ovation was definitely the highlight of the afternoon and was a major talking point amongst the attendees we chatted with, along with making major waves throughout social media as the clips of his speech and mic cut went viral. It was obvious from the response from the crowd that a real discussion about independence was going to be impossible to ignore. Hi guys, welcome back to day 2 of the 2025 UCP AGM. We're at the event today. We have on deck the financial reports. We have board member voting today, and we have the Premier's keynote speech and accountability address. And we're going to be interested to see after the eventful day yesterday what her response is to the pretty overwhelming vote of confidence from the membership in the auditorium about Alberta independence. So we have our sign. We're going to hopefully get some discussions at lunch with the membership, see what the pulse is, and hopefully bring you some good clips.
So, my dear friends, thank you so much for that warm welcome. I can't tell you how happy and energized I feel when I am with you. Let me tell you, we fought and won in the courts of law. We fought and won in the court of public opinion. And we fought against and continue to fight every person or initiative that seeks to destroy our economy and future prosperity. We have been abused and taken for granted repeatedly over the past decades. But my friends, let's not throw in the towel and give up on our country just as the battle has turned in our favor and victory is in sight. Parties are nonetheless supporting Alberta's vision for a prosperous, energy-rich nation with strong and sovereign provinces, building a Canada we can be proud of again. Now is not the time to give up the fight.
Yeah, it was an interesting night last night. We had the opportunity to prove to Danielle Smith and her cabinet that their base is about 85 to 90% in favor of Alberta independence. I was hoping that we would hear the end of this nonsense about a strong Alberta within a united Canada. It's just time to move on and get Alberta the hell out of Canada. I think the only way that Danielle or any of her cabinet ministers can win a debate on Alberta independence is if they cut off our mic, right? You know, the math and the economics of Alberta leaving Canada are so strong, there is not a valid argument for keeping Alberta within Canada. And you notice that in all of her remarks today that, that Danielle didn't have a single good reason for Alberta staying in Canada other than we need to work with our fellow Canadians who've been screwing us for years.
Now, I know full well that so many of you here today have been justifiably, like me, frustrated and angry with Ottawa. I get it, trust me, I get it, I hear you. Alberta, despite all of the roadblocks thrown in our way by Ottawa, has still managed to become once again the fastest growing province in Canada, and by a long shot.
Personally, I would have loved to have a session, an open session on the question. My position is to do what Quebec does, that the day that Alberta does everything that Quebec does, that doesn't need any referendum, nothing, just policies, that it will render the country dysfunctional and will push for renegotiation of our relationship.
New Albertans from other provinces and countries have been essential to our economic prosperity and rich culture for over 100 years, but that was upended by the last 10 years of what was effectively an open borders policy by Ottawa. And Albertans of all ages, ethnicities, and immigration history have had quite enough. We need an immigration policy that puts Albertans first. And that is why our government will be taking primary control over our immigration system in the coming months and years ahead. That no professional will lose their license to practice due to their political beliefs or for not kowtowing to DEI and
The the way I feel today is we could separate, but you better make sure you've got everything in place. You better make sure that you have a blueprint to follow, because the NDP and the federal and provincial and the Liberals are just rubbing their hands together, waiting and hoping that we all jump ship immediately, and it won't be effective and it won't be efficient. There's just no way.
We'll be introducing a new motion under the Alberta Sovereignty Within a United Canada Act that will, if passed in the legislature, instruct all provincial entities, including our municipalities and law enforcement agencies, to refuse to enforce or prosecute under the federal gun seizure program. Albertans defending their homes and families from the
With Danielle Smith's keynote concluded, we broke for lunch. We weren't able to bring our sign inside, so we were hoping to catch people coming and going at the entrance to the convention hall, but it was quite cold and we didn't see much traffic. We spotted a group of Antifa protesters. If anyone was going to change our minds, it would be those who so vehemently disagreed with everything the UCP stands for, let alone its independence faction.
We were trying to have a conversation. There's some constables that are doing some good work here that are trying to keep the situation under control. Obviously no one wanted to have a conversation with our sign. No minds are attempting to be changed, but so they were very kind to us. They gave us the lowdown. They don't want to have to arrest anyone and cause a bunch of problems. So we're gonna go, but
since we didn't get a chance to have any real conversations, we headed back inside to catch the results of the board elections. This election was notable because vocal independence advocates within the party had a major opportunity to grow their influence. Ultimately, 11 of 17 board seats went in favor of Danielle Smith loyalists, with 4 going to candidates explicitly advocated for by the APP, and a handful of independent sympathizers in addition to them from what we could gather. No doubt there is clear support for Danielle Smith, and rightfully so, as she has managed to secure some key policy considerations that have been greatly appreciated by the membership. But the groundswell of independent sentiment is at an all-time high within the UCP, so we are left with a few major unanswered questions coming out of this AGM. How will the growth of the independence movement affect the UCP and its policy direction? Will the party fracture from within or ultimately split as differences and long-term goals become irreconcilable? And will the UCP manage to navigate this moment, perhaps via result of referendum, and definitively take a stance as being ultimately a federalist or a separatist party?